Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda.
Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Stop the Rot, Sack the Lot. It's good to be back with the crew. Dave and Mel send their love. Hopefully we might even hear from Dave through the course of the show at some stage. But they both send their love to everyone that has been sending their well wishes and wishing Dave great recovery. And he's making great roads. There's no question about that. And so, you know, we just continue to ask the Lord to keep healing Dave and getting him right so he can carry on what he's already started. So I bet everybody's really, really fatigued right now. It's been a pretty big, long journey that we've all been on. And I just want to encourage everybody right now and that the fight isn't over. The fight's, we know we're on the final hurdle, right? So I just want to encourage everybody just to, regroup, find yourselves, you know what I mean? And let's bring it home once and for all. And stay as motivated as you possibly can. But, if you need the time out, by all means, I think it's really, really imperative that you spend some time, regroup, which we've all done. That's why we've kept low profiles over the last month or so. As much as, Dave and Mel, it's also been a period for us to sort of regroup as well in Kaz and the rest of the team at Stop the Rot. So, without any further ado, this evening we've got a special show. We have Jackie Dundee with the Commonwealth Custodian Group, and we're going to they're going to be educating us on their endeavours to draw us out of this mess that we're in. And so, how are you, Jackie?
Well, thanks, Frank. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyway, I'm going to hand it over to Jackie right now as she gives us a bit of an education and a bit of insight and some knowledge and some stuff that she told me just only a few moments ago. So I'll leave it over to you, Jackie, and let's sit back and get educated. Thanks a lot, though.
Thanks. And all the best to Dave and Mel, and thank you so much for all that you do as well. It's been fantastic. You've always been a great support, and you've always been there to get information out. So I don't speak for Commonwealth Custodians, but I have joined Commonwealth Custodians. I am a Commonwealth national. I do not go under an Australian citizen at all. So, firstly, I would like to make people aware that tomorrow is a very auspicious occasion, and you will not see or hear anything put out by government or mainstream media that tomorrow, being the 1st of January 2026, is the 125th year anniversary that we federated and that the Constitution was enlivened. So the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900 Imperial, proclaimed on the 1st of January 1901 under the Royal Coat of Arms. It is the anniversary of that tomorrow, 125 years. Something we need to celebrate. This is when, Australia federated, and the supreme written law of this nation was enlivened, and it was created for the people. It provides us protections and guarantees, and it is the restraint. It is the rules or the law that the government must adhere to. And it was brought in because prior to it, all of the colonies, it was tyrannical. It was just a mess here. And it seems that we are back in that situation right now. So Commonwealth Custodians is Keith Charles has done all the documentation for that. Very, very well researched. And the reason I supported and have joined Commonwealth Custodians is because everything is being done correctly in law, pursuant to our Constitution. Everything is peaceful and lawful. So this is not the way this is being done is not an attack on the system. So we are living men and women, and we are basically in the system as such under duress. So this is what I say to people. Do not say I'm a living woman or I'm a living man and I don't have to pay my registration on my vehicle, or, I don't have to have a license, etc. If you do that kind of thing, you are going to end up in court. So this is basically letting the system know that we are adults. We have reached the age of majority. And we are in the system, but under duress, because we do believe that it is a lot of stuff that the government have put out, etc. And the way we are operating, it's a corporate system. It is one that operates on illusion, and it's just an assumption of everything. So, as I say, it is up to us, the people, and we are the Commonwealth. The people are the Commonwealth. We are the sovereign beneficiaries by inherent right as a collective. Okay, so the people of the Commonwealth as a collective are the sovereign beneficiaries of the Commonwealth, of all the equity and wealth of our nation that has been siphoned off by this corporate government, providing tax exemptions, etc., to foreign corporations who are obviously in allegiance, obeying and adhering to foreign powers. So we've got major issues in this country, and we just need to ensure that we have justice prevails, and that the law, the supreme law, is adhered to, and that all statutes, acts and laws that are created by government are subject to the Constitution, because that isn't happening at the moment. They are failing. They are derelict their duties. So
I actually witnessed that firsthand, Jackie, just even the other day when you guys were in court, and just, seeing, how it is all pretty much stitched up. And, but what I find interesting is that there's been a lot of people that have actually led good common folk up a merry-go-round and have got themselves unstuck, with their finances and whatever, and sadly that's been horrendous, because let's face it, the cost of living is tough enough as it is, and we've got good Australians that have been led up a garden path and told a lot of bullshit, basically, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, it needs to be really tightened up with all of it. I believe anyway. Jack, what's your thoughts on that, love?
Look, we've got to do everything correctly by law, and this is why I say continue to pay your rates, your driver's license, your registration until it is otherwise determined by a court of competent jurisdiction as such. It's this. So the way this is Commonwealth Custodians operates is it is not an attack on the system, and we must ensure that no harm is caused to anybody. So these people that are out there saying to people, don't pay your rates or don't pay your mortgage because it's been on-sold, they are putting you in harm's way, and too many people have lost their homes and their property, or are in court now with costs way exceeding what just paying their weekly mortgage or their rates would have been. So so don't put yourself into harm's way, and always operate peacefully and lawfully. That's all I've got to say. So
yeah, well, it's a case of the system having to be broken down, and at the moment we're still living within the system. So there's no point trying to curtail around it until things are literally brought to its knees. And right now, we've just got to keep doing what we've got to do until it finally comes to its crescendo. So, that's my personal views on that one anyway.
I think the system is going to bring itself to its knees because...
Oh, yeah, you can see it happening already.
It's all of the corruption is just exploding to the surface now. So 2026 is the year of truth. The fire horse, and it's very positive. So the truth will prevail.
It always does.
We've got our guests sitting in the background, so I'll bring them in. Keith is going to be doing the presentation tonight, or discussing what the process is. We're very grateful to him. He's flown in. He's living in sideways, and so we'll bring him in right now. And we've also got Gazcam, who runs out of I think it's out of Queensland. So out of Queensland, you'll see him driving along. He gives great commentary on the day's events as he's going along. So I'll bring him in. So thank you, everyone, and thank you. First of all, I'll just introduce Gazcam. So Gazcam, where can people find you? Because you do a lot of content creation.
Yeah, look, a lot of the stuff that I do, people don't know it's me. I'm getting more views than Kim Kardashian with an OnlyFans page at the moment. I didn't have to show my boobs. But I'm fully supportive of the Australian Marchers group up here in Queensland with Scotty and Bender and all those sort of guys. I've had a lot to do with behind the scenes with March for Australia, the initial advertising, that sort of thing. So, that's the kind of thing I do. And other than that, I'm doing live feeds out of my car on Facebook. I spend a lot of time in this brand cancerous thing called X Spaces at the moment. I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. But, it's a great conversation. It's a bringing together of the left and the right. I don't know if it's always the right thing to do, but people are getting together and the movement is building. So, it's what we're doing.
Excellent. So, guys, his handle is Gazcam on Facebook and also on Twitter. And, of course, we've got Keith Charles, who has founding member of the Commonwealth Custodians, correct?
Yeah, founder of the Commonwealth Custodians, yeah.
Excellent. So Keith Charles has been doing this really huge presentation on where we are, how we got here, and what the exit plan is. So we thought we would bring him on tonight so that he could actually walk us all through that. So Keith, you actually are a living man too, because I've actually seen it. I've actually I got onto the Commonwealth Custodians and I actually read the transcript where the judge actually acknowledged you as a living man.
That's this document here. This is the final orders from a court. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's to Keith Charles' estate, and they sent it to me with compliments. And on the this is when I was in the federal court, and
that where I got found to be or recognised as being the living man and the executor of my estate. In paragraph 7 of the final orders, it says, it is unusual to pronounce final orders without either the consent of each party or a trial. But this is an unusual matter with a very unusual history. The living man, Keith Charles, either in that capacity or in the capacity of the executor, steward and executor of the estate of Harvey Keith Charles, has filed extensive documentation, blah, blah, blah. So I got recognised in the federal court, and that was sort of, I've been doing this for about 28 years, and that was in 2000. The final court date was February 2015, and I got recognised by them, and when I got recognised by them, I realised, well, all right, well, if I'm the living man, and I must be in the Commonwealth, I can't be in their world. And then I went on and found the Public Government's Performance and Accountability Act, 2013, and under that act in section 11 it says that there is two Commonwealths. There's a non-corporate Commonwealth and there's a corporate Commonwealth. And then under that it says, note, the corporate Commonwealth is legally separate from the Commonwealth, which means it's foreign to the Commonwealth. And then it goes on and says, whereas the non-corporate Commonwealth is part of the Commonwealth. Right, and so the non-corporate Commonwealth entity is part of the Commonwealth. It is the Commonwealth, and so and each of these entities has, which is in the next paragraph, in paragraph 12, each of these entities has a accountable authority, and so I realised then that if both of these entities have an accountable authority, the only one that could actually be in that office is somebody who is actually in the Commonwealth and not in their corporate system. Because one, you have to have an affirmation of allegiance to sit in a Commonwealth office. And so I sent them I did a reversion of interest, and I claimed the office of the accountable authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth entity because nobody else could really sit in that office, because I got found to be the living man and the executor of my estate, and my estate is part of the Commonwealth. And so therefore the Commonwealth, because it's part of the Commonwealth, I've also got to protect the Commonwealth to protect my estate. So I claimed that office and did a reversion of interest. Reversion of interest is virtually collapsing the corporate Sedicate trust. And I also sent a declaration of peace, and so I collapsed the trust, and I told them that I wanted all the files taken out on that name. And my father also had that name, and now there is nothing in their system. I've had their lawyers come up to me and say, "Oh, we've been looking for files on you. Have you? But we can't find any. Were you born in Australia?" And I've been told by a lot of people, that there's just nothing on me. And it also goes for like Heritage and .com or whatever it is. I used to be able to go in there and look up birth certificates of my family and all the other corporate stuff. But now there's absolutely nothing on there. The only thing that's on there is a 1952, I think it was, electoral where my father is on that. But they've taken out everything else. It either comes up as private or that there is nothing. So they've taken out all the files on me, and I've been in that office ever since. I write from that office, and nobody has ever refuted or rebutted that I'm not in that office. And so I've been in that, and for the last 10 years, and so I've really been in the Commonwealth and holding that office. And what I did after that was I created Corporation Souls, which are under common law. They're not under Roman law. They're actually Commonwealth offices. And I first created the Accountable Authority for the Non-Corporate Commonwealth Entity, which is the office that I'm in. And then I got Commonwealth Public Officials, Commonwealth Justice of the Peace, and then I got the Postmaster General for the Commonwealth of Australia. And
it's a very difficult thing. Most of our viewers are pretty savvy. They're up to speed on it, but it's very difficult for the average normie to understand that they actually stole a whole country.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get their head around. Did anyone want to give like a 2-minute? So for anyone who's new, who's watching the show, what actually happened was, I think it was in 73, Gough Whitlam created this entity called the Queen of Australia, just a fictional character, doesn't exist, and it didn't relate to the styles and titles at all. And so it's just on paper. So effectively what they did is they de factoed a republic without our permission and without our knowledge, but it's actually formed a form of slavery on us. So whereas prior to that we held the power, now they have shifted the power to themselves, which is why I suppose we see very few politicians ever getting held to account for anything.
Yeah, well, look, yeah, we when you're born into the Commonwealth, and you have a natural born allegiance to the Commonwealth. You can't be born into a corporation, and that's why they have to incorporate you into their world by the form of information of birth, or the information form that your parents fill out, and the doctor and the nurse witness that you were born into the Commonwealth. And that is the source document for the birth certificate, because they have to incorporate you into their corporate fiction world. And so the people of the Commonwealth, we are the people of the Commonwealth. But what they did in 1973 is they virtually created a counterfeit lookalike. And then when everybody went in and signed up for Medibank or Social Security, what everybody did is they entered into a private agreement with a private corporation and came out of the autonomous community known as the Commonwealth of Australia and into their political society. And this political society is a counterfeit lookalike that they have deceived everybody to come into. And do you have that International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights?
Yes, let's have a look at that.
Yeah, you see under Article 1 where it says down Article Part 1, Article 1. Right, all people have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine the political status and freely pursue their, it's a little bit hard to read, it's a bit small.
Economic, social and cultural development.
Yeah. So they, first of all, it says, all peoples have the have the right of self-determination. Yay, you know, everybody thinks that's great, you know. But then it goes on, by virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status, right? So when you choose to have a political status, right, what you are doing is you are choosing to be in their political society, right? And so the people of the Commonwealth were deceived into coming out of the autonomous community known as the Commonwealth of Australia and into their political society. And then if you go down to 2...
Did you want me to read that? Yeah? Do you want me to read that out? Article 1, number 2?
Yeah.
All people may, for their own ends, freely dispose of their natural wealth and resources without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law. In no case may a people be deprived of its own means of subsistence.
Yeah. So
well, we actually are.
Yeah. They say, like, if you enter into their political society, what you're doing is you're giving away all your resources for them to, you know, give out internationally and whatever else. And so, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Keith. Now, did the Lima Declaration sort of blend itself into this as well? I mean, it seems like those wills really took motion in 1973, you know, where they really started to strip us right back.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. I mean, you know, the Unidroit and all these things. What, you know, like what it is that the people were deceived to come out of the autonomous community in the Westminster Declaration or whatever it is. You know, it says in there that, you know, the dominions of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, blah blah blah, are autonomous communities within the British Commonwealth, and that's what we were. And so, see, like this system, this globalist system, originated in 1648 at the Peace of Westphalia, where the Holy Roman Empire came up with the concept of sovereign states. And these sovereign states are the legal entities or corporations that they created. And these belligerent sovereign states, they made one non-belligerent state, and that was Switzerland. But all these member states, they made these legal entities, which are nothing more than a corporation. And the Holy Roman Empire gave them the authority to be able to declare war and treaty, whereas under the law of nations, which is under natural law, only the sovereign of a nation can declare peace with another sovereign of a nation. So, you know, under natural law, that's how it worked. But what they did is they created their own artificial world, virtually. And this artificial world that they created has evolved to all the corporate governments that we have around the world today. Anybody that is in the United Nations and, you know, taking part in things like the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights or the World Bank or any of those things, then they are in their system. They're in this, you know, Roman Empire system that they created. They're not under the organic nation. You know, the Commonwealth of Australia is an organic nation. It is a moral person, whereas theirs are legal entities or a legal person. And so, you know, they've deceived everybody to come out of the organic nation and into their political society, and to give up all their natural resources and whatever else, so it can be divided around the world, or they say that it's divided around the world, but all they're doing is raping and pillaging the nations, and laundering it out everywhere, and so the thing is, if you go back to that number 2 that you read out.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll
notice. No, it's okay. You'll notice in there it says without prejudice, and without prejudice means that it's not binding. You can change your mind. You can come out of it at any time. Right now, if they did not put there without prejudice, then that would have been slavery. But the way that they're doing it, they're saying that everybody is in there voluntarily in their system. That everybody's chose to go into their system and participate in their system. But nobody knows, nobody was fully informed about this, right? How they done it all and whatever else. And so, there's 2 worlds. There's the Holy Roman Empire world, run under Roman law, and the Babylonian law, which is their international law, which is private international law. And then there's the organic world, which is like the English, under English law and natural law and universal laws and principles and divine law. And so they deceived everybody to come out of one world and into their world. But without prejudice means that you can leave that society at any time, and that's exactly what we're doing. It's a maxim of law that he who doesn't assert his right has none. And if you do not assert your rights and come out of their system and back into the original Commonwealth, then they will just presume and assume that you're in their world voluntarily playing the part of a slave. And so while you're in their sandpit, they created their world. It's part of natural law that he who creates owns and controls. Right? It's under cause and effect, the law of cause and effect. Right? The effect can never be greater than the cause. Right? So they are the cause of their world, and so therefore they own that world. And if you're in their world and you're attacking their world, right? So you're in their sandpit, and you're playing with their bucket and spade. And while you're in their sandpit, you've got to play by their rules. And their sandcastle, what their creation is, the Parliament of Australia. In the Constitution, it's the Parliament of the Commonwealth. And right, so they created their counterfeit lookalike. So if you're attacking their Parliament of Australia, which is their sandcastle, then you're attacking their world, and they will treat you as a belligerent or enemy combatant, or the slaves are revolting and and treat you that way. Whereas if we without prejudice, we can leave that system at any time. And
I've just got a question up here. Monica Hooper has said, will they let us go easily? I can only comment from my perspective. I've left and I had no problems. I just followed the steps that are on there, and I've not had one knock on the door or anything. So
no, they can't, because it's without prejudice, right? If they were to stop you, if they were to threaten you, or they were to coerce you in any way, that is involuntary servitude. So whoever did that would be guilty of slavery. So they cannot attack you for doing, because we are not attacking their world. Because we're not attacking their world, then like their world runs on conflict, and when there is no conflict, they can't do anything about it, because there's nothing to attack. So we're not attacking their world. Everybody's got freedom of will and freedom of choice, and everybody, so everybody is free to leave, but they are also free to stay. We cannot force anybody to come out. And so, we're not attacking their world, because their world is totally incompatible with ours. Their world is virtually an illusion. Their world is a facade in front of the organic Commonwealth. It's just an illusion. Their world is a 2D world on paper, and it only survives in the minds of those who actually believe in their make-believe world. They make you believe that their color of law is real. They make you believe that their color of authority is real, but it's only real when people believe it's real.
Am I correct in commenting on this? Sorry, I wanted for you to go all through it, but I've just the comment that I've got is that are we completely unique? Because I know that I've read, I think it was in the CIA declassified vault. I think it might have been Vault 7 or somewhere like that. But somewhere in the CIA declassified documents, they actually refer to this, and they refer to it as basically a bloodless coup. And so it was a coup by pen. So are we completely unique in Australia in that we can actually, because it occurred by the pen, we can actually take back the power via the pen?
Yeah, well, we're the only one that has a constitution that really allows it. Because our constitution, everything in our constitution, the people are the ones that created the Constitution, and the Constitution is a trust. It's a universal law that he who creates, they created their system, we created the Commonwealth of Australia, and he who creates, owns and controls, and they are the absolute supreme uncontrollable authority, and that's in Quick and Garrams. And the Constitution is a trust. The people had a referendum and chose to unite into a federation, federal Commonwealth. And when they did that, they were the settlers of the Constitution. The Crown was the trustee, and the people are the beneficiaries. And the only way any office gets any authority whatsoever is if it is done under the Constitution. So if there is, like, the Constitution, the people created the Constitution, and the Constitution created the offices of the Parliament, the Senate, the judiciary, the whatever else. And so because they created, because the people created it, the effect can never be greater than the cause. And so we are the authority, except we've been it's been turned that we are no longer the masters under the Constitution, that now it's been turned on its head, and now the government is our masters, and they are the authority, and we are the slaves. Whereas under the Constitution, the people are the authority. But it's only there because people don't know that there is another Commonwealth, that that counterfeit copy, in the Public Government's Performance and Accountability Act, it actually shows that that's the accountable authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth entity is the principal, and they are the administrators. All right, but there's been nobody in that office to be the principal, because everybody abandoned the Commonwealth and went into their political society. And the only way we're going to get our authority back is when people come out of their political society and back into the original organic Commonwealth and take their authority back. And when people do that, then see, like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I first occupied the office of the Accountable Authority, and then I made officers as genuine Commonwealth officers, which are corporation souls. Corporation souls are under common law. They're not under Roman law. And then on April the 13th of this year, because the Constitution is a trust, right? As I explained, that we are the settlers and the beneficiaries, and the Crown is the trustee. Under trust law and equity, it's a maxim of law that a trust will never fail due to a lack of a trustee. Now, if the trustee is incompetent, dies, fails to do their job, or it is usurped, and somebody is acting as trustee de tort, which is what the corporation is doing, then the beneficiaries have the right to become the trust protectors, and as trust protectors, they can appoint new trustees. And so we got trust protectors in each state, and those trust protectors appointed 3 trustees in each state, and they now sit on the board of stewards. I wrote the trust, which can be seen on Commonwealth publicnotice.org, and all the other documents that followed that, of their tacit agreement. The documents went out to the political parties because at that time the government was in caretaker mode, so there was nobody in there. And these political parties are virtually franchises of the UN. And so what we did is we sent it to them, and we told them that we are taking back the Commonwealth under trust, and then gave them the opportunity to refute our right as the people of the Commonwealth to do it, or rebut the trust. If there was anything wrong with the trust, they could rebut it, or they could present a higher claim. And nobody came forward with a higher claim. We sent it to the Governor General. We sent it to all the political parties. We sent it to the UN in Canberra to send on to the UN in New York. And we also sent it to the Provost Marshal. Now, the Provost Marshal is was formed in the 12th century under the king. It's an English office under the king. But the only way that we can restore the Commonwealth, because it says in the Constitution that the Parliament and the Senate will be elected by the people. All right, so we can't appoint a people to be in the Parliament and the Senate. And so what I am the Commonwealth trustee, and I'm also the accountable authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth, and that's the bridge between the two worlds. And the Board of Stewards are the ones that are virtually looking after the Commonwealth, and it's their job to restore enough of the Commonwealth to be able to give the people the right to come out back into the Commonwealth and be recorded as such, as nationals in the Commonwealth, and to go on to the Commonwealth electoral roll. And when we get enough people that come out of the Commonwealth and onto the electoral roll, then we can have elections in the Commonwealth. It won't be for those who are Australian citizens because they are foreign. It'll be the people who are recognised as Commonwealth nationals. They can vote in a Parliament and a Senate. And once that's voted in, then the Commonwealth is then again restored. And we can say to the military, you've got to come back over here under the original Commonwealth, which is the people. Otherwise, you are aiding and abetting a foreign entity against the people of the Commonwealth and committing treason.
And Keith, how do we get rid of these bastards here that wear this shit? I'm just wondering,
Oh, the Masons.
I mean, they're part of the gig as well, aren't they?
Yeah. That's it. Well, and the Fabians and all the secret societies. It's not just the Masons. It's the Fabians. It's the Jesuits. It's the they're all.
It's a long list.
Yeah. And and that's why they're flooding us with so many immigrants at the moment, which I'm sure Gazcam can speak on a bit later, because it's just like I can't even go downtown. I went to Bunnings the other day, and that was like it was just overwhelming, actually. But one of the things that keeps popping up is that people are saying, "Can you be in the system and still what about for welfare payments and things like that?" So that question's come up a few times.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people who have done it, and it's never affected anybody's pension, invalid pension, dole, anything else. We've only ever had good things happen, never had any bad things. Like people, by unincorporating their name, have found that their licenses have been cleared. People that have gone to hospital and haven't had their Medicare card and just told them their name and they've looked it up and got treated like royalty. We've had when you come out of their system, you are the principal. They are, while you're in their system, you are a slave with no rights. When you come out of their system and back into the Commonwealth, you are the supreme authority. You are the principal. The people are the ones that have the authority. They have the rights. And, it's the thing is that, until people assert their rights, they have none.
So, Keith, what's the path forward then? Are we just talking about numbers? Do we just need enough to get onto the electoral roll to actually call an election and just do it that way, or is that the way forward?
Yeah, well, all we need is but we need a lot of this. That's still a lot of people, because we've got to do it for each electorate, and then we've got to have the people who vote in that electorate. We've got to have the people who are going to run in the Parliament, in the Senate. We've got to have Commonwealth public officials, Commonwealth Justice of the Peace, Commonwealth notaries, all the other admin. We need the Office of Record so we can record everything. We need virtually a public service to be functional enough to do all the recording and to put everything together, so to establish so that the people can have that. Now, it can only be open to people that are eligible to be on the organic Commonwealth electoral roll. And so we can't accept a driver's license, or we can't accept a birth certificate, because they're fraudulent documents and they do not identify the man or the woman, they identify the legal entity. So the only way that we can do it is that we're doing it under the Statutory Declarations Act 1911, which is a Commonwealth Act. And it says in that act that every government office has to accept that, and it has to be done by Justice of the Peace. And so we have to have enough Justice of the Peace. We have to have, and we have to have people, it's going to be it's all got to be recorded. You've got to be recorded on the electoral roll, and the only way that they see anything is that it is recorded, and so it's the same as everything. Anything that is not recorded can't be seen or heard. Right? So when you go into court, if you do not say that you want your affidavit read onto the record, it sits in the file and it's never seen or heard, and it never goes onto the record. And it's the same with everything, that to be able to do anything, you have to have it on their record. And the things that it sounds like you've been through the unincorporating and the
and they know as well too, by the way. When I made the appointment with the notary to go and have it notarized, he actually said to me, I only get these when people change jurisdiction. So he actually knew. Like he actually knew that I was changing jurisdiction out of the corporate and back into the Commonwealth. And I'll show you something. This every now and then we get a troll that we think is they've got a little bit of too much access and we can't boot them out. Look at this. So here we go. Here they come, the government, because I think it's the government anyway. Sorry, all this is BS. And you always know when you're inside the studio, because we can't actually technically boot them out. They've got some sort of thing. They give themselves exclusive access to the studio, so we can't actually delete the comments or boot them. So there you go. You know that you're over the mark when those guys start popping up.
Yeah.
Where's that comment?
Just Cassie from, it looks like she's coming from Twitter, but sorry, all this is BS.
X, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, X, but the thing is I can't, so I can boot them. I've got to.
Where's one of these?
Yeah. And so you're going to get trolls. I get them all the time, and but I've been living. This isn't theory. I've been living this for the last 10 years, and I've come up with how to get out of their system, and I've shown people how to do it, and you've experienced yourself. That notary, you're changing jurisdiction, and that's exactly what you're doing. And
no, I know, but like how they actually know. That's what gets me is that they actually know. And I've heard of cases as well where where the judges actually goes, we've got a bit of a jurisdiction issue here.
Yeah.
Like, so they actually know.
Yeah. But if the things that you do need to be on the record, so like when you unincorporate your name, right, you do it with an ABN. You first of all make an ABN, and because they created their name, then you go and buy the name. And when you go and buy the name, like he who creates, owns, and controls, they created the name with the birth certificate. And because they own it, you have to go to ATSIC and buy it. And when you buy it from ATSIC, on the letter that you get back from ATSIC, it says, or on mine, it says, Keith Charles, in all caps, is registered to Keith Charles as a proper noun in proper English. Right? So it's not registered to them, it's registered to the living. Right? So they do not own proper English. Right? They own the bastardized version of English. Right? They never created English, so they can't own it. They created the bastardization of anything that's bastardized that is not English, that is corporate, and so and it's just a matter. It's really just a matter of knowing who you are, that you're not an Australian citizen, that you're a Commonwealth national, and letting them know where you stand. And when you cure your standing, that cures everything, because you're not in their jurisdiction.
When now we've just had this question. That's the thing, isn't it? It's all about jurisdiction. That's the thing that I've come to the conclusion of. Now we've just had this Scott Miles here, and if we come under the Commonwealth constitutional monarch, i.e. King Charles Globalist, I don't believe this is going to be beneficial. We need to become a true constitutional republic with a very firm Bill of Rights. Can you address that?
Yeah, well, look, in the Constitution, it says, right, it's the Constitution was there before King Charles, right? It's been there since the 1900s. King Charles got nothing to do with it. He's got no power. He cannot change it. He cannot do anything. The only ones that can change it are the people by referendum. And
that's interesting.
King Charles can do absolutely nothing if he was, but people say that he's this and he's that, but the thing is, people have got to remember that in 1973, when everybody went up and signed up for Medibank or Social Security, right, what they did is they came out of the original Commonwealth and into their political society and left the crown with no subjects. And they cannot interfere in a private agreement, right? Everybody went in and signed up individually. That is a private agreement. Nobody can interfere in a private agreement. And if they've got no subjects, and so they're virtually sitting ducks because they've got no subjects. Everybody's gone over into their world.
Plus, and that's by the oath. Oh, sorry, you go, Frigo.
Yeah, well, they're Saxe-Coburg anyway. They're German. That's it.
And the thing is too, it's the oath. The oath is to the Constitution, guys, as well. Like it's the Constitution, not to the King.
The British throne is biblical. I've written a Abrahamic covenant showing how the throne went from Jerusalem to Ireland to Scotland, and the Pope never refuted that when they wrote to him and told him that they came from Scythia and that the kings they are of a line of 28 kings, and the Pope never refuted that. And then when King James I of Scotland became King James I of England, that was the third overturn. That was prophesied in the Bible that it would be overturned 3 times. And so the throne is supposed to be the throne of David. And so it's not who sits on the throne, it's the office that you've got to respect.
Okay.
And it's not up to anybody. It's not up to anybody to choose who sits on that throne other than God.
Look, somebody's made it, they've said, can it just be easier? Look, it is a bit of a hoop jumping exercise, but the steps are laid out very clearly on the Commonwealth Custodians that if you just follow exactly what is said there, it's doable. And so I've done it, and I thought it was a bit complex as well to do it. That's why I balked at it for a long time, but I've gone through the process now. It is doable. But the thing is that this is what it takes to be adults, guys. As Jackie said the other day, I'm going to borrow from you, Jackie, again. Jackie said, okay, children, well, the adults have arrived. So, or something to that effect. Jackie, you're on mute if you're about to comment on about that. So this is doable. It is a bit technical, but it's doable, and it's really important that you do it at the moment. If you want to have a say in the future of Australia, you need to do it. Don't sit there and basically whinge and complain if nothing gets done, because this is the answer.
Yeah, it's the only remedy. There is no other remedy out there. There is no other. The only way is it says in the Bible, "Come out of her, my people," and it's come out of their corrupt corporate system and back into the original Commonwealth, which is the organic, which is under divine law, natural law, universal laws and principles, common law, imperial law, and not man's law, which is Caesar's law, is what this corporate is run under.
That's it. All right. Has anyone got any questions to ask with regards to it?
Yeah. I definitely do. Treat me like an absolute dummy on this stuff, but a couple of things sort of piqued my interest, and it was with Keith and Kaz. What does a separation from the system look like? How would it look like for me, somebody that's a business owner, somebody that occasionally reluctantly pays his taxes, feels the pressure, is absolutely penalised up the wazoo for different licensing? They seem to know that the last dollar that I have in my back pocket, and they're forever after it. How does it look like to uncouple myself from that system, and what benefit does it actually have for?
So while you're in the system, you are the one who is virtually the surety for the legal entity for all the fines, the taxes, the whatever they want to lay onto you. And when you come out of the system, then you are the one in authority, and you are the one that is owed remedy for things like they removed our lawful money and therefore you cannot expunge a debt. Like their fiat military script is a debt instrument, and you cannot pay a debt with a debt. And so, while you're a slave in their system, they don't have to give them any remedy because they're in their system and they're a slave. But when you come out, they must give you remedy to be able to cure that. And as the accountable authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth entity and the Commonwealth trustee, it's in the Public Government Performance and Accountability Act that it recognises that I have the right to access to the Consolidated Revenue Fund and special accounts so that I can run the entity. Now, the entity is the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth is the people. So when you come out, you can still interact in their system, but there's going to be remedy that way. But until that happens, you can be in the system but not of the system. All right, so they want you to be in the system and act as the person in their world. And when you unincorporate your name, get your form of information of birth and get it apostilled, when you unincorporate your name, what that does is it takes the ability of them to be able to use your name. Right, so they created the name with the birth certificate, and when you buy that back, they can no longer use that name, right? And then when you get the form of information of birth, which is the source document, and you get that notarized, and you go and you get it apostilled, that is putting it onto their public record that you are the holder in due course of that source document, and that then they can't assume and presume that you're lost lost or dead on the Holy See and administrate your estate. And when you start unbinding from the system, that's freeing yourself from the system. And then we also have trusts that I wrote. I started writing the trusts in 2015 when I virtually got left without a person, and so I had to do things through a trust. And so the trusts are what brings your property out of their world, right? So whatever you register into their world is what is virtually giving them legal title, or they become the trustee of it. And so what we've got to do is we've got to become the trustee of it. And so you do it through a trust. And under the Trust Hague Convention Act 1991 or 93, is it? 1991 or 1993. It says in there that they must accept all common law trusts, and they not only have to accept common law trusts, they have to accept the jurisdiction of those trusts. And these trusts, you've proven by doing the unincorporating and whatever else, and that's all written into the trust, that you are in the Commonwealth. And so the only jurisdiction that has a court of competent jurisdiction to administrate that trust is a Chapter 3 court under the Constitution. And you are running a charitable trust organisation from the Commonwealth, and charitable trust organisations are exempt.
What about reclamation of tax? If you've already paid tax, can you write to the tax office and say, hey, you defrauded me, I want it back now?
Yeah.
I've
That'd be
tried that.
fantastic.
I've tried that. They don't give it back. But that was a long time ago. That was and so it's one thing to first of all get yourself out of the system, and then if you want to get your property out, then you use a trust, and then when it goes into trust, you become whoever the trustee is, which is you, because you can, when you do a charitable trust, the settler can also be the trustee, and you can, it's two trusts. One trust is in the private of the Commonwealth, and one trust is in the public of the Commonwealth. And the private one is the one that you hold all your property in, and all the property is put into trust through a declaration of trust as a life estate. A life estate is under common law. It is not Roman law, and so therefore it is in fee simple. So anything, when you put it into trust, it goes into trust in fee simple, and it comes out in fee simple. And what we're doing when we've got the Office of Record, and when you are a Commonwealth national, you will be able to record your trust. The trust will be recorded in the Commonwealth, and you can record your land as well, and we will record it in fee simple and give you a deed.
You know, the interesting thing about it is, Keith, is that the wealthy people actually all know this stuff. And this is how they operate. They all operate out of trust. They technically own nothing. They're the administrator of the trust. And, you know, and they even say, like, I've asked somebody, they've even looked at me and I've said, how is it that, like, you don't pay tax? They just laughed at me and we just went, only poor people pay tax. Like that.
They've all got trust.
So they all do this.
That's right, yeah. And so, you know,
the family trust.
Yeah, no. Well, this is a pure express trust.
Yeah,
it's actually a hybrid trust. It's a discretionary trust and a non-fixed unit trust. And there's two trusts, and one is a trust organisation, virtually a foundation, or you know it's an organisation within the trust, and it gets the use and enjoyment of the property while it's in trust. So the trustee looks after the property as a trust estate, and the trust organisation gets to use the property to raise funds so it can do its charitable work. And so they get the peaceful use and enjoyment of the property, but they don't own it. They just get the peaceful use and enjoyment of it. And the trustee was the trust estate, and the certificate holders are the beneficial owners of the property.
Yeah. All right. No, that's interesting. With that sort of stuff. Does anyone have any other questions there? Gaz Cam, did that answer your question with regards to it?
Can't hear you. Unmute.
You need to unmute. What about, somebody's put here, ours is a self-managed super fund, as we are the trustees for the fund. Can they run that through there?
Well, that's a corporate one. Look, every trust that's, you know, a lot of people say that they have private trusts, but any trust that is in their system is in their system. There is no, you can't make a trust in their system that is not in their system. Yeah. And the super ones, they are a statutory trust.
Okay, so Chick's written here. So, like the guy that owns the Edinburgh pub said, he's got a trust and he's the only person in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so.
Gaz Cam, are you right? Did you want to talk again? See if we go. You got absolutely no volume whatsoever. Let me just go in here. Let's see if I can.
I'll pipe up, Kaz.
Yeah, go.
Just what I was saying the other day to you, and it's a quote from a dear friend of mine, Dawn Kelly. The adults have arrived. So this is the other thing. They think that we are infants, that we are, not of an age that we can manage our own things, and they often refer to us. If you listen to old government speeches and the prime ministers speaking about us as an infantile nation or an infant nation. So this is the other thing. When we've got to know our standing, and we've got to let them know. We know our standing. We are living men and women, and we are of the age of maturity or majority. We can take care of our own affairs. Thank you very much. So
it's maturity.
Gaz Cam, I'm just going to kick you from the studio. Just come back in. Sometimes that fixes the mic problems, just so you know. I hope you can get. I see you had a number of questions to ask there. So, that's actually the adults have arrived. I like that, and I think that's good. I really wanted him to be able to, because what they're doing with the March for Australia stuff is there appears to be a big cultural revolution going on at the moment, where it's Australia first, Australia first, and I think that's really important. But also, if you look at the number of things that are sort of coinciding at the moment, you've got people that are talking about going back to Epic because of the 5-year anniversary on the in February. Then you have the March for Australia. Then on top of that, you've got this structure coming into play at the moment. So you can just see that they're in the background. You kind of like look at it and go, is God orchestrating all of this for our restoration and reformation? Yeah, because it's sort of, if you take the 40,000 foot view, you can see all of these things going on, and it's like actually they're all going to complement each other. I can see that.
Yeah, well, Australia is in a unique position because we have the Constitution. They cannot collapse it. They cannot do anything. Somebody was saying something or other about a republic. That would be the worst thing that could happen, because a republic is not a moral person, it's a legal person. It is not under, republics aren't under natural law. They are a Greek and a Roman concept. They're not under natural law. They're actually, the republic is in the system, whereas the Commonwealth is under English law. So anything under Roman law or their international private law or UCC, if you use any of their law, then they consider that you're in their world. Right? So if you're going into court, but you're going into their court and you're using the Constitution or common law or imperial law in their court, then they see you as of being of two minds, because you don't know what world it is that you live in. And because you're of two minds, you're incompetent and insane.
I guess, I'm a bit old school. I've seen enough to know that I think the whole lot needs to be destroyed, really. I don't, I've seen enough of it. I've seen the courts. I've seen everything. I've seen us march around the streets. I've seen us do everything we possibly can. And I don't think that there's reparation in any of it. I think it really needs to sort of come and, I I'm looking at a new frontier where we all start again. I don't want to bow down to anybody whatsoever. After what we've just encountered and what we've experienced and what we know now, I'm not going to lower my knee or bow my head to anyone at all.
Yeah, but Frank, this is the problem. The Constitution has not been adhered to. It is a restraint on government. This is another reason why they removed the Constitution from the curriculum, because they did not want us to know our rights. Like, our Constitution is one of the most powerful documents in the world. It is actually better than the American Constitution, and it was designed very closely and is based very closely on the American Constitution. Their Article 3 is basically our Chapter 3, our Clause 5 is basically their Clause 6.2. So this is the thing. If the Constitution had been adhered to, we would not be in this situation, because we have a government that has gone absolutely rogue. They've created political parties, and they are writing law upon law that is not for the peace, order and good government of the people. They are writing laws that are repugnant to the Constitution. And this government is, well, we won't go too far into it, but they are
But Jackie, they're doing it in their world. They created their world. You can walk into their courts at lunchtime, and then they can go and change one of their legislations or their laws after lunch. It's their world. Their world is an illusionary world. They can do what they like, because it's all an illusion. Whereas in the Commonwealth, the laws are unchanging. They don't change at all. They never do.
So you're saying
sorry. How's your
are you
sound?
saying that the original Constitution can stack up to
testing 1, 2, 3?
I think we're going to lose. I mean, credibility is a real big one. I mean, because guess what? I mean, there's going to be so many dejected people, and the last thing they want to be done is to be governed by anyone once they find out what's really been going down. It's such a slippery slope right now. It really is.
But you look at the ones who are governing at the moment. It's all the psychopaths.
Yeah, I realise that.
Don't you think, knowing what we just came out of, that we would be able to find better people to, be in Parliament and the Senate, and it's in the Commonwealth, the people are the authority. The Parliament and the Senate is there to run government. It's not there to run people. They are not supposed to interfere with our lives whatsoever. They are there for the good governance of the nation, and that is, things like building bridges and, negotiating between countries and whatever else, but they're not there under the Constitution to run people's lives.
Yeah.
No, they're there to ensure prosperity of the people. But instead, they are raping and pillaging the nation. And they've been doing it for decades.
100%.
If the Constitution was adhered to, we wouldn't be in this situation. So we, the people, need to go back into the true Commonwealth with Commonwealth Custodians, and let's create a world we want.
And when we do it so that there is no political parties. So that there is no political parties, and each one is accountable to their electorate. And if they do not do what the electorate says, then the electorate can recall them and vote somebody else in.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
All that, for me, that all stacks up nicely. There's no question about it. I mean, I want to get rid of them, all of them, every single one of them. Yeah.
And they're doing this. They're doing this under a pseudo form of martial law, And even in their pseudo form of martial law is, when they get defeated, that they have to return everything.
Well,
and they have to pay for everything. So everybody who was involved, they everything is a profit of crime, and everything has to be returned to the nation.
Yep.
Nobody left with a plastic spoon and a bowl.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Gaz, Cam, you've got audio now, or you did have a minute ago. Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you. Oh, no, I probably missed out a lot of the conversation the last 10 minutes because I've been deaf and dumb. So where are we up to?
No, well, I wanted to sort of bring you in on your, because we're seeing in Australia at the moment, large part too much attributed too much for Australia is a cultural revolution where you can see that Australians are saying no, Australia first, Australia first. But there's also a convergence of a number of things, like you have the Commonwealth Custodians basically coming into position. You have the people who are protesting in the streets. Then you've also got the people who are calling for a return to EPIC on the 5th year anniversary. And so when you take the 40,000 foot view, you're going, wow, this seems like it's all being orchestrated from a higher level. So did you want to comment on any of that?
Yeah, look, and then you've got the Australia Lobby, which is the other arm of the activism as well, which is actually just being launched as the Australia March's group with Scotty Challen. But, I'm in a few different minds about all this. I think somewhere in the mix, the urgency and the dire straits of our country is actually being missed. I'm seeing a number of, because I'm dwelling in many different spaces and many different groups, I'm seeing the side hustles coming more prominent and actually taken away from what I think that if we're serious about, first of all, putting a handbrake on saving this country and, initially, and then, clawing it back, I just think we're losing numbers on the ground as far as, I'm for civil unrest. I'm for people getting out in mass numbers. I think it's actually needed. It's the very thing that the government is actually attacking, the freedom of speech, the freedom of actually congregating together. They don't want it because they fear it, and so I just want to push harder. I'm all for having guillotines in the streets for these suckers for the crimes against humanity that they're actually putting against us. I don't think it's far enough, and, we're looking at the peak of, third world immigration that clearly doesn't love us, doesn't like us, doesn't support us, doesn't want our culture, doesn't want our heritage. At its peak, it was 1,500 a day, over 500,000 per year. Our rights and our willing and our availability to actually be able to crawl this back is actually being infiltrated and taken away from us to the point we might not actually have anything left. If we're going to rely on these pipe dreams, they're going to probably take 5, 10, 15, 20 years to actually put in place. I need to think that we need to do something now. We need to do it dramatically. We need to remove those suckers from power like yesterday. So,
look, one of the most important things is the way that we conduct ourselves.
They would like you to believe that, yeah.
No.
Yes, but this is the thing. Under the Constitution, we have an implied freedom of political communication. No matter what law they try and create to stop our free speech, it will be invalid. So this is the thing. We have got the right to speak our mind. We've got the right to conduct ourselves and communicate however we choose.
Yeah.
The only thing we cannot do is incite violence or defame someone. They are the only things.
If you want to remove the power from tyrants, mate, they don't care for you playing by the rules. You literally got to rip it from their hands, and they're banking.
No.
Well, human history would actually show that that's correct.
That's
Yeah, I know, but they can't throw us all in jail. We actually need to do this. We need to stop sitting on our thumbs and being so passive about this, because it's slipping through our fingers through us being polite and through us having empathy and she'll be right. You know, so, and this is what they're banking on.
Protests, Gaz. I'm all for marches and protests and speaking our mind. They cannot stop us protesting.
The normies don't know that.
They can't.
The normies don't know that. We know that, but the normies don't, and we need the normies with us.
That's what we need to get out there. Yeah.
Yeah, but
what kind of numbers could we do to change this? What kind of figures are we looking at here with the Commonwealth Custodians? 100,000, $1 million, 2 million. What in order to actually what's the numbers game on this?
There's 75. There's 75 electorates under the old constitution, which is what we were going to go on. And so, how many do you want in those? Could be 10,000. So, and, those 10,000, that'd give us enough people to man all the booths and have all the Commonwealth public officials and Commonwealth Justice of the Peace and Commonwealth notaries and all the people to record it and run the booths and then all the people to vote. And then once they do that, they vote a Parliament and a Senate in. Once that's voted in, then the Commonwealth is restored. And the only officers that actually have authority are those Commonwealth officers. Their officers have about as much authority as a McDonald's worker to order anybody what to do. But our officers, under the Constitution, people who have taken the affirmation of allegiance and whatever else, they are the true authority and they have the authority to do it. And the only way you're ever going to do that is take back your authority. They want you to fight with them. Their system runs on their system runs on conflict and greed and confusion and whatever else. But this isn't confusing. All it is come out of their system, take your authority back, which instead of being a slave, he who doesn't assert his rights has none. And you come back, take your authority back, and put your energy, instead of putting your energy into conflict into their system, you put positive energy into restoring the original Commonwealth.
This is the thing. The way Keith is doing this and with Commonwealth Custodians, we are not leading anybody up the garden path or putting anybody in danger. And that is something that must be first and foremost. We cannot put the people of the Commonwealth in danger, because if we start acting inappropriately, this is when people will get arrested. The UN will come in with the military. We must ensure that people are protected peacefully and lawfully.
That's right. And just on that as well, now I've never seen it again, but I was on a UN website one night just going through all of the different things relating to Australia, and I found an agreement that they'd published, and it was never in any newspaper, and it was an agreement, a Pan-Pacific agreement between China and Australia that in times of civil unrest, they would send their troops over here in UN uniforms. So, look, we've got to be really smart about this. And what I do like about this is it's a transition that is back to law and order, and it's while maintaining law and order. And it solves realistically all of our problems, because they're bringing in voting blocks of migrants to legitimise themselves. Well, this actually just dismisses all of that. Okay, so guys, nice to see you. You're not part of the Commonwealth. Off you go.
They can't vote in the Commonwealth. They can vote in their corporate ones as their Australian citizens or whatever else, but they are not Commonwealth nationals. They will not be voting in the Commonwealth.
It seems to me that divide and conquer has always been the head of the game. The duality of life. You know, the left and the right. If I create a hero, I'll give you a villain. If I give you a villain, I'll create a hero. And even up in the last 5 years, we've just circle jerked around a whole bunch of people, telling them that we're going to be doing this, and we've marched for this, and we've marched for that, and we've marched for everything else, right? And I even stood at I was at Margaret Beasley's for 18 months calling out for Australians to come and stand with me. Right. And then, and then what we're going to do another rally. We're going to do another march. We're going to do another protest. We're going to do another, rah, rah, rah with the Australian corporate flag.
We're going to vote them back in again.
Yeah, exactly what they want.
And we need sensitivity. We not sensitivity. We need sensible heads on this. Right. You can't just go, all guns blazing right now. But at the same token, I'm not going to stop. I'm going full steam ahead. You either come with me or you don't. But at the end of the day, my common goal is to get my fucking country back one way or the other, and I don't really care. And I'm done with all the rallies. I'm done with all the bullshit. I've heard so much regurgitated bullshit stuff that we've known for years, over and over and over and over. It's like a broken record, but there's no solution in amongst it. There is no solution.
This is the solution. Right, I reckon this is the solution, Franco.
Yeah.
To do this. Look, this hasn't happened overnight. This has been a plan that has unfolded over decades, if not hundreds of years, millennia. This has been going on. So we're at the last of it. So look, this is the thing. We've got to do everything peacefully, and we must conduct ourselves correctly.
I agree with that 100%, Jackie, because even when I'm stood at the gates, I've always had, if I had a gathering, my biggest goal is to make sure that everyone goes home safely at the end of the day.
Yes.
I take full responsibility if I'm pulling on something like that.
Yes.
Right? At the end of the day, no one deserves to be harmed for fighting for their freedoms, fighting for their rights.
Look, this is what I say. This is where I sort of work as in a cooperative case, because I sort of staying in the system a little bit with the high court stuff. The only way in the corporate system with their courts of, and I'm doing this case, competent jurisdiction.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to control the executive and the legislative is with judicial force. So this is the thing, and with all eyes watching the courts, this is what's concerning them. The other thing is for us to go and let them know of our standing, each of us. And we, as the adults of the age of maturity, we will be, this is a reformation and a reclamation of our nation. And we have every right to do this.
Well, I think the only way that I would ever go back into their courts is when we walk in there with 28 justices of the peace, Commonwealth Justice of the Peace, and we all sit there, and that is a grand jury in the High Court, and we are there to judge them.
Yeah. And I must admit, going into the court cases and seeing those big numbers peering down on them, they're not used to that, Jack.
No.
And I know that they're feeling the heat because, obviously I've been to the Supreme Court when you guys have been there. And just as an observer and watching it, they're feeling so uncomfortable right now. And we've got to continue that. We've got to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, but when you walk in there as a Commonwealth national and as a Commonwealth Justice of the Peace, and there's 28 of you sitting there as a grand jury, and you are there to judge them, their actions, in whatever matters, I think they're going to feel the heat then. That's the only time they will feel the heat. Up until then, they just really what they do is they drain you of physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, and spit you out at the end and say, "Oh, good luck, better luck next time."
Gazcam, you want to say something, Dick?
Yeah, that sounds really, really good, and I've seen that process attempted a few times over my time. But you know, when you get these Supreme Court representatives, and you are passing down judgment, and you are about to take control back, you know, the ones that are in place are doing that under the point of a gun. You know, they're the ones that are actually, you know, controlling the, you know, I suppose you can call it the political military arm, our Australian Federal Police and police officers on many different levels, even the Army. That's what's backing them. That's what's actually ultimately standing in your way. What are you going to do at that stage? You're going to politely say, hey, we've passed judgment upon you. Please give us the keys.
No, that's what I said before. I said when we have the Parliament and the Senate, and then we say to the military, you have to come back over here to the original Commonwealth under the people. Otherwise, if you remain there supporting the foreign legal entity, then you're committing treason.
Yeah. So what time frame are we looking at here? Because, you know, I'm still looking at, you know, I'm at Brisbane Airport every day. I'm seeing the what I call Brisbanabad, you can't call them illegals because they're here, they've been invited, they're working. The doctors and engineers are all out there driving their Ubers and delivering food. And that's happening every day. I'm seeing them all come through the international airport. And so how long is this going to take?
Oh, look,
because I'm seeing our systems infiltrated.
I've been doing this for 28 years, and I noticed after 12 years that everybody was just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. What they are still doing now and never getting anywhere. And the only way that this is ever going to work is when the people wake up and come out of their corporate system and back into the Commonwealth and restore the Commonwealth. And it could happen overnight.
Yeah.
There could be 1 million people that come out overnight.
And
the thing I'm sort of getting at is that I'm seeing the immigrants actually infiltrating the system. I'm seeing the immigrants actually getting more power. We're seing that happen in the US and the UK. It's slowly but surely happening here. You know, they're playing the system. They're replacing it.
They cannot come into the Commonwealth because they do not have a natural born allegiance to the Commonwealth, and they are not nationalised.
Well, one thing for certain, we're waking up to it.
Absolutely, and this is the problem: is that the Australian government has
all by design
allegiance. Absolutely, they don't just have acknowledgement of adherence, allegiance, and obedience to a foreign power. They are in bed with foreign powers.
They are a foreign power.
They are the foreign power. That's exactly right.
Sue versus Hill. They are a foreign power.
That's it. All right, look, guys, we're just under 2 hours here now at the moment. So, because this is New Year's Eve, our New Year's Eve special, and so we're at 5 to 9 at the moment. So, what I'll do is I'll just go around. Has anyone got any other things to say, comment on, or anything else that they think is really pressing, or do we want to have a follow-up of this? Like maybe do people want to go away and follow up like in a couple of weeks or something?
Yeah.
Well, who wants to start?
Why not? Look, I think the other thing is everyone wants everything to happen now. The only way this is going to happen quicker depends on how many people decide that they're going to come over and come under the true Commonwealth, conduct themselves peacefully and lawfully. People of the Commonwealth of honour and good conscience, conduct yourselves correctly, come over to the Commonwealth, let's get our country back.
It could be 100
if we're operating lawfully.
It could be 100 next week, 1,000 the week after that, 10,000 the week after that, 1 million the week after that, 5 million the week after that. It's all going to happen in divine time. It's not going to happen when we want it to. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and it does take a couple of weeks to extrapolate yourself from the system. Like, we're not saying that, but it is doable. You know, so it's doable. It's the same as when you signed up to be part of the corporation. You went through these processes of filling out paperwork and things like that. You just didn't know it at the time. They made it really simplified because they wanted to enslave you. So it's a little bit harder to unenslave.
If you want a passport, you have to go and fill out paperwork. If you want a driver's license, you have to go and pass the test. Fill out paperwork. There is nothing different here.
I had to do that all today. I had to go for a physical as well. It's fucking painful. Yeah.
That's it. All right, look, let's wrap
Oh,
it up.
actually,
Sorry, yes, go. Yeah.
oh, sorry, just on that, I experienced something really bloody funny today. I didn't know it existed, you know, dealing with foreign doctors that are clearly trying to remove you out of the system for working and put you on welfare and declare you unfit. I didn't think it was a real thing until today. Bloody hell, what a fuck around that was.
Yeah, there's a lot of really bad stories coming through, like, and people that I've known for a very long time are experiencing great difficulty in some of those areas as well. And of course, it is by design. We know that they import people, and of course, we also know that in certain countries you can buy a PhD for equivalent of $350. And one of our people has decided to give it an equal status. You studied overseas. Oh, well, we'll give you equal status. No, that's not the way Australia runs. We actually run a proper education. Well, when it's operating well. It's not.
That's right.
So, I just want to leave with some affirmation, right? Because I think we're going to need it this year, particularly coming up. It's "Don't you quit" is what it is, and it's a poem, and it says, "When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and your debts are high, when you want to smile but you have no sigh, when your care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, and everyone sometimes learns. And many fellow turns about, but whenever you might have won, had he stuck it out. Don't give up, through the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when it was night came too down, how close he was to getting the golden crown. Success is failure inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It might be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. There you go, guys.
Yeah, very good.
Very good. All right, final words, Jackie. We're actually being taken out by the Rocking Your House wife and tonight, and it's Was It Worth It is the name of the song. It's one of her latest. And on Friday, I think the Rocking Housewife and I will be doing, and possibly Dave as well, will be doing a special with her music, because one of the things that's really important is arts. When you're trying to have a cultural revolution, the arts, once you've got the arts, you've pretty much got everything. So I'll just go around, and Jackie, if you'd like to have some final words, then Keith, then Gaz, Cam, and then Franco, I'll get you to close the show.
Yeah.
As we all know, it's a spiritual war also. So this is something I say. I've never been a part of the freedom movement. I am free, and I stand and I own that. I know my standing. This is a truth evolution. This is not a revolution, which has a negative connotation. A revolution is also going in circles. This is an evolution. So this is time for the people to be the authors of our future, and we shall record history truthfully. This is the change, and we're coming into the now into the year of the horse, which apparently is it's filled with new beginnings, freedom, etc. So it's along those, I think I know we are going to win. The people will win because we do everything in the correct frequency, and that's what it's all about. Stay in the frequency, unite. United we stand. And if you say that, mean it. Walk your talk. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Yeah,
Year.
thanks, Jack.
Happy New Year.
Keith Charles, if you'd like to have some final words as well to take us out on.
I'd just like to say everybody has freedom of will and freedom of choice, and slaves free themselves while free men free themselves while slaves wait to be freed. And have a happy New Year.
It's funny how we can watch a movie like Spartacus and all want to be Spartacus. Yet when it actually comes to signing some paper, filling out some paperwork, suddenly I know it's too much effort. So, but yeah, no, I thought that just as you were saying that, very good. Gaz Kim, if you'd like to have some final words, and then I'll throw it to Franco to close the show.
Yeah, this is the most fantastic time in human history to be alive. This is human history at its finest, as far as it's Bible prophecy playing out in real time. This is what we're actually seeing. It is actually, in fact, totally 100% a spiritual war. It is a war between good and evil. It is, and what is at stake is actually our eternal souls, So I would like to suggest that, the Bible would say that the trajectory of the world doesn't actually change until the coming of the King, and the King's name is Jesus. So I'm waiting for that day. Am I sitting on my laurels waiting for him and doing nothing? No, mate, I'm fighting. I'm actually just trying to spread the gospel and trying to spread his name in all these places, because that is the one true solution to all of this. And Happy New Year.
Thank you. Well said. Franco, if you'd like to close the show, I will hit end stream and we will be taken out by Rocking Housewife.
Yeah, look, obviously everybody that came on, Jackie and Keith and Gasman and the likes, and yourself, Kaz, as well. And, Jesus did ride in on a donkey, but I really believe he is coming on the horse this time round, you know what I mean? And the King of Kings will conquer once and for all. There's no question about that. And that's the King I will bow down once and for all. Right?
Amen, brother.
Father, yeah. So I think, look, at the end of the day, I think this is great. Roundtable's fantastic because it's really good, honest discussion that we've heard tonight, and I think it's really, really positive. And we know that the trajectory is, at the end of the day, we all want what's right for the common man and for the common good of this nation of ours. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Dave and Mel for allowing us to at least have Stop the Rot and Sack the Lot as a platform. We owe them a gratitude of years, of hard work that they've put together to keep this going. And to you, Kaz, once again, we know that you're the machine behind it, love. We know that, and we're so grateful for everything you guys have created. And let's bring on a good year. Let's bring it home. Let's bring the country back home.
Let's bring it home.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. Thank you, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Doors in 2020, Victoria held its breath so long. Cafes darkened, shops went quiet, dreams slipped away before the dawn. Small businesses fought to hold on, some never opened up again. Empty signs still hanging, windows, echoes of what might have been. Days blurred into nights at home, screens became our only light. Kids learned lessons through the glow, anxiety climbed out of sight. Depression hit one in every four, loneliness weighed like never before. Young people lost parents, breaking hearts heavy behind every door. Was it worth it? All those days we stayed inside, kept us safe but scarred our minds. People walk a little distant now, eyes down its place. Women carry double the burden, mothers cares, young and alone. Mental health lines rang endless, voices breaking on the phone. Wait, settle slow, comfort and food, obesity crept a little higher. Stuck inside, we lost the rhythm of walking free, of feeling tired. Beyond blue calls, doubled overnight, lifeline held us through the dark. Some scars faded when it ended, but some still carry that mark. Was it worth it? All those days we stayed inside, kept us safe but scarred our minds. People walk a little distant now, eyes down, trust a little thinner. Worth it? I still wonder. Some say yes, we saved the many lives, were spared, the wave held back. Others whisper in the silence, the toll on minds was the real attack. Shops are gone, weight remains, we scroll more, talk less each day. We're still here, still breathing, but not quite the same. Was it worth it? All those days we gave away. I don't know what more to say. People change, the world feels quieter. Victoria moves on somehow. Was it worth it? Still ask it now. Was it worth it?
Happy New Year, guys, from Guru Mel.